All right, welcome back for episode 8. I'm recording this right after episode 7 because, wonderful conversation time. I'm joined by my wonderful roommate McDewey and the all-time legend Kozman,
The German legend.
who's also Romanian by the way, who can't speak. But, so Kozman, introduce yourself. I know you introduced yourself on the mukbang, but this is the actual podcast, so.
Alright. So, Cosmin Moisescu. I'm actually from Romania. I lived for 10 years in Germany. And now I'm trying to study here. Oh, well.
Which isn't working out.
Yeah. Well, I'll probably move away this month.
Yeah.
Other than that, I like Rammstein. Typical German.
His existence really doesn't matter, to be honest.
Nah.
He's here 1 month, and then he's gone the next. Okay, so, we're just gonna jump right into the topics, and then we'll try to divulge from there. I mean, if you guys have anything else to say before we do. Is there anything you think would be interesting that the people listening to this would like to know? Or
Interesting.
PewDiePie passed T-Series once again.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Bro, what the fuck?
Like, when T-Series passed PewDiePie, he released a song.
Yeah, congratulations. I saw that today.
And not even after 24 hours, he already passed T-Series again.
Yeah, fuck T-Series. Fuck them Indian cunts.
Did you hear the lyrics? I mean, did you listen to the lyrics?
Yeah, it was like,
No, it's a lot about exposing T-Series and what the shady business is about.
Yeah, you already told me about it, but I watched it. I know what you mean.
Yeah. And I think that's the video that he wanted to upload once because T-Series was very close to surpassing PewDiePie, but then he got subscribers out of nowhere. And I think that's the one video that he wanted to do.
Yeah, 4chan or Reddit probably rallied behind him in some way.
Mm-hmm.
That's how that shit always works. So, I'm getting called by Dublin.
Dublin?
Yeah.
Who's Dublin?
Nobody, it's a place. I'm being called by a random person.
Oh,
Probably
really?
trying to get my social security number.
Oh, nice.
Okay, anyways, so we made a small list of things that we would start talking about. And Kozman wanted to start the discussion with the American dream. So when you mentioned that, what did you want to talk about that specific topic?
So everybody knows about the classical American dream, like going to America, work hard, have your own career, then buy a house and live together with your family. So that was basically the American dream in the beginning. And I've always been interested in how people were thinking that life in America will be like and how it actually was. Like, for example, with the first immigrants, when they came to America, what they hoped for.
Yeah, I mean, because, in America, during high school, you study immigration. Like, you study the history of the different types of immigration, because, the first immigrants were all, British and Germans and Dutch.
Yeah.
And then once those guys settled in, then you had the Irish who came in. And then after the Irish, you started getting a lot of you also had the Asians were also, they also settled.
Chinese, Italians, French, Spanish people.
Yeah, all of them came in. And then eventually you had kind of in the last couple decades, it's gone from Cubans and other weird refugee places. Now to just Mexico. Mexico's the big topic.
Yeah.
And also you also have apparently a lot of Armenians.
Armenians?
Yeah.
Oh,
So I was talking to this Armenian and he was like, dude, you have no idea how many Armenians are in LA. There are almost more Armenians in LA than there are actually Armenians in Armenia.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's
That's a bit crazy.
that's a bit weird. But I mean, it doesn't in a way surprise me because that's what America is kind of for. But I mean,
Yeah, but I find it interesting how America is the promising land of success, and how everybody has its own American dream, and how those values change over time. So I was thinking, you as an American, do you have an American dream, and what would it be? Or what is it?
okay, well, I mean, I'm American in the sense that I grew up there,
Yeah,
but I'm myself an immigrant.
yeah,
So I mean, I think just based off of the country that I like have grown up in,
mm-hmm.
I think the American dream should basically be like just kind of what it's always been. Like you can come to the country and you can do with what you have. You can be anything you necessarily want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the problem with that, however, is that people don't realize like if you come to the country, the chances of like the statistical chances of you actually succeeding are fucking tiny. Like the chance of you actually being really rich is really small. I'm not saying that you can't be successful, but you're not going to be like Kanye West rich. Like that's just not going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that people's expectations of what the American dream is, I think they don't read in between the lines. Like they see what America says and they're like, "Oh, of course," but they don't actually realize like what goes behind, or like what goes into someone who succeeds at that rate. Like for example, like you asked for what I think the American dream is like. For me, it's just like just doing what makes me most comfortable in life, what makes me happy.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much all I really care about. Like, yeah, sure, being successful, having money, that's a bonus, but
Yeah.
I think if you focus on the money first, then you're shooting yourself in the foot because you want money to work for you. You don't want to work for money. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's the main thing that successful people say. So, and like you always have like LA like especially is like a fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about that last episode. It's like people they move around and they try to get like social media following
Mm-hmm.
until they finally actually get money and are actually successful.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that nowadays the American dream is basically like, can you basically, it's like it's like a social Ponzi scheme.
Mm-hmm.
People are just giving each other a position and social status until either they decide to drop out
Mm-hmm.
or until the thing collapses on them, or they're one of the few people who actually get out of it and succeed.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that in general the American dream that people now see, like the perception of how people approach that is much different than how people approached it like 2 decades ago.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I know plenty of like I've had Mexican friends who like their parents come from Mexico, they're poor as shit, but they're still living in like a wealthy neighborhood. It's not like they're not doing bad for themselves. So
Nico, what do you think? What is your American dream?
My American dream.
Yeah.
Probably live in LA.
But why?
I don't know. Just beaches.
Sounds like Californication.
Yeah, I don't even know what American dream means for me. I mean, I can see the kids like running around
Mm-hmm.
and living in a White House. No, not the White House, but living in a modern White House and
yeah, I know what you mean.
have a car and have a basic office job. But the thing is, it sounds so boring to me and don't feel like that's mine.
Well, I mean, I think most people's lives are pretty boring. Like for example, people in my high school they go to Coachella.
What's Coachella?
Coachella is this big festival that happens once or twice a year. I don't know. It happens every year, and you have like basically all the biggest names in the music industry. They go there, they perform, and like you have 16-year-olds going to this festival, and it's like for one ticket, it's like $2,000.
Yeah, what the hell?
And then that doesn't, or no, that's not what a ticket is. But like the overall trip
Yeah,
is expensive,
yeah.
and it's like most people can't afford that. Like only people who are rich can afford that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that in general, most like America has a big opium crisis. It's because America is not that interesting. Like most of the time, like okay, you got Florida where you got a bunch of crazy ass motherfuckers doing crazy shit. Like there's like a challenge, and it's like a meme. It's like type in Florida man
Plus
and
it.
then the date and then the fucking date.
Yeah.
Like that's literally what Florida is. Like okay, you got Florida, and then okay, that's pretty much about it. Like yeah, New York, but New York is so expensive to live in. It's like you're not really going to get much out of it. LA, you got a bunch of like
Celebrities.
you got a bunch of celebrities, and like the other like majority of that city is just a bunch of people faking it until they make it. So
It's interesting that you say it like that because when I think of America, I mean, what the reasons why I would visit America, it's not because of the big cities. I don't think of New York or Los Angeles or even Las
I mean, it's there, but I don't want to go there.
yeah, but like I'm also a person who like not that I don't find physical like landmarks not interesting, but I think to a certain extent they're kind of boring. You know, it's like
Mhm.
I'm more of a person who cares about information and stuff like that. Like if I'd much rather go on YouTube and listen to a podcast about psychedelics and how
Yeah.
they could have possibly affected the course of human evolution and how they could possibly change the way that we think about
Mhm.
how human brains work
Mhm.
than go to the Grand Canyon.
Mhm.
Like, I would just much rather do that.
I think that what makes landmarks so nice to see is probably the moment. Like you need the right moment with the right person to see that landmark, because in itself, like you said before, it's not interesting. But I think that if you combine it with a small adventure, like a micro adventure, or with the right person in the right moment, then it can be special to you, even though if it's something totally not interesting and that you have every day.
No, I get it because again, it's like the value you put towards it
Exactly.
with the person you put it with. But for me, I don't put great value towards that type of stuff.
Oh, all right. Okay.
Just me personally, because it's
Mhm.
like, because like people like especially you hear this so much in America. People are like, man, I wish I could go to Europe one day, and I'm like,
Really?
yeah, no, like in America, Europe is a big fucking deal.
Yeah.
But because they think it's like it's a lot happier and it's classier and like you just enjoy life more. It's like to a certain extent that's true, but it's like you get here and it's like if you live here, like for example, like we want to talk about this, like living here, like from different cultures, it's like to a certain extent it's the same bullshit. It's the same bullshit. You're living with annoying ass people. You're
Oh,
living
but
with
you know why it's that? It's because America is such a big influence to us as well.
what do you mean?
Well, lots of pop music, for example, always comes to us, but always has been first in America.
Yeah, but I think that's also like hype, but as well as like language. Because like for
Mhm.
example, like if Romania or Finland they make like music,
Mhm.
like we're just not gonna understand it. Like
Mhm.
Americans they don't have Finnish or Romanian in their vocabulary,
Mhm.
so like they're not gonna give a shit about the music you make. I mean, it's like you know what you guys probably know what K-pop is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like that. Like, yeah, maybe it can be interesting, but it's only going to be interesting to a few amount of people.
Yeah.
So, I think that.
But I believe that American has a wider influence on Europe than you might think, and that's also because of the history that America has with Europe.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because right after the World War, yeah, America didn't just go away from Europe, especially from Germany, and lots of people learned stuff or a way of living that only Americans had. Like, for example, the American jeans. You couldn't get everywhere the American jeans. Like, we didn't have jeans the way the Americans had before, and we had to see it and to make it our own, to fabricate it ourselves. Or chewing gum. Chewing gum wasn't really a big thing in Germany before the Americans came.
Well, chewing gum originated in South America.
Yeah, but still,
Yeah, but
it came with the Americans.
true.
Like, lots of stuff that we have nowadays also still comes from Americans. Like the social media.
Yeah, but I think that's also because it's like a circle, right? Like,
Yeah.
like okay, so you have all these countries
Mhm.
outside of America.
Yeah.
People are interested in America.
Yeah.
So those people go to America. Then you have a bunch of people that live in America that are from different places.
Yeah.
So you have all different cultures, all different perspectives. That creates a new type of culture,
Yeah.
which is probably more interesting than just like, for example, if you took a Finnish and a Romanian and a German culture, right? You combined all three, and like you tried to create something, it'd probably be a lot more interesting than just a German culture or
Yeah.
just a Finnish culture.
You would get like a mixture of Viking, Gypsy, Nazi.
Yeah, pretty
Yeah.
much. That's, and I think that's why America is probably just so interesting, simply for the fact that it's literally an environment that produces culture. It's meant to produce new culture.
Mm-hmm.
So, because it produces new culture, because like for example in the Netherlands, is like there's not much going on here that can force them to create like new culture that's going to revolutionize the world.
Yeah, but yeah, you are right. Even though I respect Netherlands for being so open to so many stuff, like with gay people and transgender people.
Super PC.
Yeah, we're really fucking PC.
Yeah.
But we're also not. We're like PC, but also not at the same exact time.
No, the thing is that they were open for such a long time for stuff like this that it's become normal. You know.
Yeah,
for,
but
for other people it's PC, but for them it's just normal living.
yeah, but I think it's also the way that Dutch people react to it. Like for example, like gay people, it's like in the Netherlands, if you say you're gay, it's like no one gives a fuck.
Yeah, it's
like
normal.
literally, like if you tell me that, it's like I don't like. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I don't know how you want me to react to that, but it's great for you, man.
Yeah, I always feel like when people come out as whatever sexuality, they feel like they should get this huge applause.
Yeah, in America.
Imagine me like going up to Vitalik and say, I'm heterosexual. Is he supposed to make me a fucking cake?
No, no, he's not. I mean, he'd probably just give you some eggs and some rice. So,
What do you guys think about the coming out parties in America?
that's
I think
that's the
my
argument.
coming out party will be like the belt slapping.
No, but like, that's like what a lot of people dislike about like gay people, or at least like the leftist gay people, is like they make it such a big deal, but it's like you ask everyone to just accept gay people, but then when you
Accept them.
come out, you make it a big deal. So it's like you make it a big deal, everyone else is going to make it a big deal.
Yeah, we had this. I had a conversation with my coworker, and he's working on a project, and his aspiration is about all this like gender stuff and sexualities and whatever. And he basically asked me like, "What's the scene in Finland? What's going on?" And I just told him, "Okay, there's like really gay pride, so you know, with the PC and stuff." But I also told him like, just because they have those prides, I feel like it comes from a place of like insecurity, because why would you have price for things like we are so proud to be something? Like I feel like that speaks of feeling
Inferior.
Yeah,
Like I know what you mean, because like, okay, like for example, like black people, right? Like this is just for America.
yeah. For
Yeah.
example, Black Lives Matter. So why do you have to celebrate Black Lives Matter?
Yeah.
Matter if everything is on an equal field?
Yeah.
What's the point?
It's like you're like, I have no problem with black people, and then you're just like, yeah, you have a problem with black people, don't have a problem with black people, and I'm like, yeah, I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's like at that point, like, and then you have some people who get frustrated with that, right? Like obviously, like I couldn't. I think people who do that are just stupid, so I just let them be. But like then you have some people who just like they look at that and they're like they get pissed, and then you create this unnecessary conflict.
Right. So is political correctness now part of the American dream?
For some people, probably, yeah.
I would say a lot of political correctness would be part of the American dream for Americans. I think people who come from out of America or come from outside of America, like into America, I think most of them don't really give a shit. Like I think they also like that they themselves probably have more conservative views, like when it comes to like the economy and stuff like that, and like I would imagine like even social issues that they're like America's basically just like accept our culture and you can add your culture to it, but it's like if you're gonna be in our country, accept our country. That's all we ask of you.
If you live in America, be an American.
Yeah, like you have to respect American values, and I think some people get mad at that. It's like, well, like for example, like I'm Dutch. Yeah, of course I say like in America I say I'm Dutch, but it's like I also know that I've spent 15 years of my life out of 18 in America. So
Yeah.
like I still need to show respect towards America. Like I'm not that I don't dislike America. Like I like America.
Mm-hmm.
I think that a lot of the things that a lot of the ways that their culture is set up is very, very particular, but also like it's naturally like it's just set up. It's the best way you can live. Like the laws, I think is just generally it allows people to do whatever the fuck they want. And I think that's the best thing that you can do. Is just let people do what they want. If you try to make it more complicated than it is, then you're just gonna fuck yourself over.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, but I think also, it also works both ways. Where it's like, I think America currently is kind of going to shit socially in the sense that people don't really know how to act anymore. And
What do you mean?
no, just like people are a lot more immature. Like I already mentioned this.
Immature.
Immature. Like for example, my sister, I already mentioned this on a podcast with Lewis, but my sister, she got a text from my mom saying that, yeah, I cheated on your dad, like just thought you should, like, just to let you know. Turns out that this one lady that was quote unquote supposedly a family friend, which she actually wasn't. No one really likes her. And even though that this isn't important, she's also lesbian. But but she was like, she texted that on my mom's phone to my sister. And my sister literally just called her out. Like she literally told my mom to give her the phone, and she literally just started cussing the lady out. Because it's like how can you be 40, like 45, 50 years old and text that to a 16-year-old? And like that immaturity of the fact that like a woman of that age would text that to a child,
Yeah.
I think kind of shows like that Americans, they can act arrogant and that's fine, but it's like you have to understand why you have that arrogance. Why are you able to have that arrogance?
Mm-hmm.
Like Americans generally can have arrogance because they dominate in pretty much like almost every single statistic, whether good or bad, right? Like
Yeah.
that's what they do. So they to a certain extent they are very important in how the world works. So they kind of have that. They're allowed to have that arrogance.
Mhm.
I mean I have that arrogance, but like I don't think like, oh, because I'm an American I have the right to be that arrogant. But like they have the arrogance, and that's understandable. But it's like you also have to understand why you have that arrogance. It's like you're arrogant because America has done a lot of shit for the world. It continues to do a lot of shit for the world. So it's like understand that, and then you can use it. But if you don't know why you're using that arrogance, then you just seem like a bunch of whining, annoying cunts.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what that lady is, a whining, annoying little cunt.
Mm-hmm.
Do people actually believe in the American dream in America?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
100%. I believe in it. Like the original thought of like, if you come to America, you can do whatever the fuck you want.
Going back to the culture question, more like you can say that you're American and be proud of it, but other countries, for example Germany, are not allowed to think that way, like socially. What do you think about it?
I think that's just history. Like, for example, I think Germany does that because they're afraid that if they show that nationalism, that people will be afraid that there's like a sense of like kind of like Nazism, like kind of like there'll be the
Yeah.
Fourth Reich. I think that's why Germans kind of hold back on that.
It's not only that the Germans hold back on that, but also other countries or other institutes that are very careful when Germany talks about something. Like, Rammstein, the band.
Yeah.
They have lots of controversies. And, like, there are some people who think that they're Nazis or right-wing, but they're just artists and like to provoke people.
Yeah.
And they have this new song called Deutschland, which translates to Germany. And basically, in the song, they just sing about the love-hate relationship with their country. Like, they want to love their country, but they are not allowed to, and they've had such a bloody history. Not only the Second World War, but also in the Middle Ages, or as far as the antique. Like the Romans came to, how is it called? Germania, Germany.
Yeah. Germania.
Germania. Yeah, they came to Germania, and they only found like bloody savages that.
Well, I think it's how you. I think Germans. They're afraid to use that that pride. It's one of those things where it's like, this sounds weird, but it's like a Spider-Man quote, right? It's like, with great power comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
It's like you're having pride of your country is very important to a country, because if you don't have pride in a country, why the fuck what's the point of having your country exist?
Mm.
So, and I think Germany is just afraid that they might get too carried away with it, because I've met a lot of fucking Germans here, and one thing that I will totally agree on is that Germans can get carried away, in their own things. Like, they can get really carried away. So I think that Germans are they're more afraid of, like, it's like kind of like a risk. Like, they're afraid that if they show that pride and like give into that pride, that they will end up turning into what Hitler did to Germany. Like, they're afraid that will come out again. And to a certain extent, I understand that, but it's like you still need that pride. It's not like America has ever. I mean, like, yeah, America's committed genocide. They've
lots of countries did that. Like Britain, France, Netherlands, even Spain, Portugal.
But like also another big thing in America is like, even Americans, like especially in California.
Yeah.
A lot of people say like, I hate America.
What do you mean? Just like that?
Yeah, they say that, and I'm just like, like they'll be like, oh, I hate America so much, and I'm just like, why would you like? Why would you say that about your own country? Like, that shows your ignorance into so many things. It's like, yeah, your country is shit. Guess what? Every other country in the world is shit. They all have problems. Like,
Yeah.
what's a problem in Finland? Because Finland is one of those places where Americans are like, Finland is the perfect place to be.
Yeah, it's also one of those top countries where everybody's happy or something like that.
Yeah, but I think they also have one of the highest suicide rates, right?
Yeah,
Oh, about
along
that.
Japan.
Oof. I live like 2 hour drive from a town that has the highest suicide rate of all of Finland. It's called Parainen. But I don't know the reasons why the suicide rates are high. I really don't know.
Well, so Scandinavian countries, including Denmark, they have some of the highest suicide rates among any countries in the world.
Yeah.
And they say that the reason for that is because if you're in an environment where everyone is happy but you're not, then why if you're in an environment where you're supposed to be happy but you're not happy, then you have a higher likelihood of being more depressed. Because you look around yourself and you're like, everyone's happy, but I'm not happy. And then eventually people kill themselves. Because, like, for example, like, if you go to, like, India, right? India is a pretty poor country, like, just in general, overall. But it's like, you can't complain that your life sucks. Because if you drive 30 minutes outside the city, there's a dude who has, like, probably a kilometer of land with 13 children, and he has to look off after all of those children. So you can't complain about your life. So like for example, in like Denmark and the Scandinavian countries, it's like you complain about your life because everyone around you is in a certain situation and you're not.
Yeah.
So, but what's like a big problem Finland has?
Damn.
You see, political correctness.
Not really that. I mean, we probably have like crushed the feminism wave in Finland. Like we shut it down. Like there was like one debate, and the general consensus was that femininity like fell flat. But the problems we have right now are healthcare.
Healthcare.
Yep.
Probably too expensive.
No, I mean yes and no. They want to change the health sectors to, you know, since in a constitution it says that every person is equal, and when people are just moving to south to bigger towns, smaller villages don't get like as good healthcare, and they have to wait bigger queues, pay more, or like that stuff.
Yeah.
And everybody should have the same amount of
The
good
same price.
healthcare.
Yeah.
But the thing is, when by regionally they don't get that, it's unconstitutional, since every person is supposed to get the same
Yeah.
healthcare, and then the problem cracks.
Yeah.
Left against right. How we gonna solve the problem? And
Yeah.
we've tried to fix it for like more than 14 years.
14 years?
Yeah, it's back and forth. Like
Holy fuck.
our government had
Idea.
no, when they break,
Want a break?
when a government like shuts itself down.
Oh.
Shut down.
A shutdown.
Yeah, like
shut down.
they call the president. Oh yeah, we are stopping the government now.
Mhm.
That
They have to revolt.
That happens every year in America now. Dude, America is so like split that I think almost every year for the last 2 or 3, 4 years.
Yes, but this time it was like the longest time.
Yeah, but it's because so many people like there's so much tension in America. Like I'm not sure like Finland or Germany, but like America, everyone is on their toes.
I feel like
Whoa!
Let's go. My camera just fell.
Nah, nothing broke.
Um,
It was already shut down.
Damn.
Okay, well, sorry about that noise. Shit's loud as fuck.
You shouldn't have like punched your fist,
Oh man,
Mr. Hulk.
I literally got a heart attack now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
it
okay,
looked really bad.
One last topic I want to cover before we end this. I want to talk about how you guys feel about living together as roommates. I feel like that would be very interesting because
we had the fight.
no, not because we had the fight, but like for
Yo,
example,
pass me the camera, man.
what?
Let me see my baby. Pass the camera.
Okay. His baby is injured, I think, or hopefully not. But I want to talk about this because most roommates, like I know a lot of people where they have roommates, but they don't talk at all.
Yeah.
Yet for some reason, like even before you two moved in, like I still had a pretty social interaction with my roommates. We have one more roommate, Vital, the Ukrainian unsocial cunt. Yeah, I don't know,
I
but
think he's on the toilet now.
yeah, who cares? He's just gonna sit there and be like, "Ugh, what the fuck is he talking about?" But most people, they don't have like a good relationship. Like for example, Ronya, she told me like she doesn't talk to her roommates at all,
Yeah.
like at all.
She's not the only one.
So what?
I wonder if 69 does the same thing.
69 lives by herself. Yo, look at their face. Yo, I wish bro, I wish people could see the faces of these two. They literally both looked at me and just smiled. Oh.
We're gonna make a blitz.
Blitzkrieg.
Blitzkrieg.
Jesus fucking
I
Christ.
thought that she was in the same room with Alexandra, not the Romanian girl.
No,
Because I saw Alexandra in her room, that's why.
No, they live right next to each other.
Oh, I see. That makes sense.
You know, but I just want to get your take on, I don't know, roommates. Because there are some people that I imagine that are listening to this. Either they've never had roommates or they currently have roommates that they probably don't talk to or dislike. So what is your advice for people to have a good relationship with their roommates? Like, what are tips that you would give them?
Be really social out of the gate. Because if you don't take that route, it's gonna be
Harder.
harder for you.
Out of the gate?
It's just account them like emergencies. Like, what if you get sick? Who's gonna go to the pharmacy for you? And you should have like a system going on with your roommates.
Okay.
Yeah, you should also be clear of what you like and what not. Because everybody has different expectations or different kinds of lifestyles. And if people are open to each other, then they can find a solution together. Like they could just say, you do you and I do I do me. And that's also a fine thing, but that can only happen if you discuss with somebody else.
Yeah, like the cooperation within the, like you can get more out of being friends with your roommates than not being friends with them.
Yeah.
You get more out of it. But also another thing I would recommend, like not only be social right out of the gate, but try to find things that your roommates find interesting. Like just try to do it, because like for example, my old roommate, it was weed. My Spanish roommate, it was weed. My Asian roommate, it was cigarettes.
Mm-hmm.
Vital, I just bother him, so that kind of just continues.
Yeah, he's not very social.
Yeah, he doesn't like talking to people. I don't even know. We just had long conversations. That's how And then me and
he's just chill.
yeah, I mean me and Cosman just kind of like, I just want to like get to know you as soon as possible. So, I mean that's kind of how we did it. We just, and I mean like it's not like dude, we got into an argument. Like we were, like we get into arguments, but it's like we talked about this during the arguments. Like it's just simply like you had an argument, accept it, deal with it, move on, try to learn from it as you can. Because if you don't do that, then like it's just gonna be awkward as fuck the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
So
From my experience in Germany, people are afraid of confrontations.
yeah, I agree.
Like, I have the feeling that some people don't respect themselves enough and don't try to confront some of the problems, try to find an easier way out of every situation. But sometimes you just have to step up and do your thing, do what you believe that is right. And when it comes to roommates, I believe that if there's something that you don't like, you should always tell the other person.
Yeah,
If and
just
you
be
should-
direct.
yeah,
That's
you should also see how they react. For example, if they appreciate you and if they respect you or want to have a good relationship, then they will be open and be like, yeah, let's find a solution together. But if they're like, no, fuck you, then you're officially allowed to hate them.
Yeah, like I mean, it's not like your relationship with your roommates are going to be good, but I think the effort is also very important. Because, but it's also how they like receive it. Because like some people are just cunts and they don't want to talk to you. Like for example, Vital,
Yeah.
like he just doesn't want to talk, which is like it's understandable, but it's like it's just not like that tells a lot about him than I think he thinks that it does. Like it says more about him as a person, as who he is, than him like talking.
I feel like for the past 2 weeks, I already like seen his patterns, and he becomes very predictable.
Yeah.
Like there are like certain reasons why he leaves his room.
Food, Ronia.
Not anymore. Haha. Biking.
Yeah, biking and not gym. He's not really fond of gyms. Like he goes to the gym, but he doesn't like going to the gym.
Mm.
He just likes to do his exercises.
No, but like to a certain extent, I kind of understand that unsocial like being unsocial. Like I was kind of always the same, but like when I moved here, like I had the understanding. It was like you're living with these people, you have to at least engage with these people. If you don't do that, then what's the fucking point?
Yeah, but also people should see it as an opportunity. Like, getting to know your roommate might be more lucrative than you think. Like, not only in a perk kind of way, but also like socially.
Yeah, I mean, like I've invited these two to what, three parties, two parties, something like that.
Yeah.
Just because I know them, they can come by if they want to drink. Well, one of them doesn't. Cosman doesn't drink. But like you
Drink too much.
He drinks too much, so like
One smokes too much, one drinks too much, one does none of them at all.
so
I feel like the Buddha here.
I'm the chaotic son of a bitch.
You're the American.
Yeah,
South American.
but see, I also get away with it because I'm American.
Yeah, I know.
I really do. Like, I really do get away
You
with it.
really count on that.
Like if I was Dutch and I acted this way, people would like fucking slap me across the face. They'd be like,
Yeah.
"Bro, you are fucking stupid." I'm like, "Yeah, I know." Yeah. Okay. How long has this been going? It's been
I don't know. I hope not too long.
46 minutes. I think this is a good time to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Anything else? Anything else you guys want to before we shut down this episode? You can see it on both your faces. You guys are tired as fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um.
Still need to do my assignment. Like a few pages left.
Damn.
Gonna do it tomorrow early though.
I don't know. I didn't really speak much on this podcast.
I mean,
I was kind of sleeping already.
I mean,
You're already sleepy.
dude, there's gonna be more podcasts. It's not a big deal. Like,
Yeah, it's fine.
we'll talk. I mean, we started this like literally at 12:30 in the morning. So,
Should we mention our sponsors?
Oh yeah.
our sponsors are Audible.com as well as Google.com as well as Amazon.com. I'm making all this shit up because we don't have any sponsors.
How about this shirt?
Yeah,
Oh,
buy
no,
our
no, no,
shirts,
that-
buy our merch.
That's not official yet. Ignore the black dude. Don't listen to him. He has nothing important to say.
Hey, that's racist.
I'm an
Well,
American. I'm allowed to be racist.
How about that? The guy with the clothing brand, man.
Yeah, no, we haven't officially come to an agreement on anything.
Just say that this is like a teaser.
A tease.
Fine. I might get a sponsor, so it'll help me out. I don't know. We'll see.
It's just €3 per podcast.
Hey, that's actually okay. You're gonna have to be my agent. All right. Well, anyways, thank you guys for listening. This was episode 8 of the Normal Podcast. Hope you guys have a good day, good afternoon, or good night. Thank you.